In the local car industry, particularly in the minivan segment, there aren't too many options. People who are looking for a minivan would normally opt for a Honda Odyssey, a Kia Grand Carnival, or a Toyota Alphard, all of which are a little bit too rich for a lot of people's blood. Those who are looking for more affordable options would normally default to the Toyota Innova. So let's say you want the Toyota Innova's bulletproof reliability, but you want a bit more luxury and features than what the Innova can give. Well, GAC Motors has thrown in its hat in the MPV minivan segment with its newest premium MPV offering, the GAC GN6. How does the GN6 compare to other MPVs at its price segment? It's time for us to find out. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Regan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. If you're my subscriber already, muchas gracias to you guys. I really appreciate your support by watching this video. Also special thanks to GAC Motors for graciously lending us this all-new GAC GN6. If you have any inquiries at all about this GN6 or the GAC lineup, you may head on down to their showroom at GAC Pasig or go to the nearest GAC dealer, well, near you. Now, if you're a Toyota fanboy, you'd probably be thinking, how dare you compare this Chinese GN6 to the Toyota Innova when it comes to reliability? Well, GAC Motors has been making Toyotas in the Chinese market for nearly 20 years now, so there you go. The GN6 is almost the same size as the Toyota Innova, except it's a bit lower because of its unibody construction. That should make the ride quality a little bit more pleasant. It's also the only MPV below 1.5 million Philippine pesos that comes with second row captain seats, a big plus for people who want to travel in executive comfort without the associated price tag. The GAC GN6 retails for 1,480,000 Philippine pesos, which puts it squarely at the same level as a base model Toyota Innova. Now, the other MPVs at its price segment are the Geely Okavango and the Maxus G50. In fact, when you look at the GN6, you'd see that it's almost a dead ringer for the Maxus G50. It's like a brother from another mother in that sort of way. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because both MPVs are absolutely fantastic looking. The GN6 has, Flying Dynamics front-end design that uses light and shadow sculpting 3.0 design. Now, that's found in the GN6 brochure, and I don't really know what that means, but it does look elegant, I'll give it that. It got this nice squinty halogen headlights here with this nice LED DRLs that are shaped like flying wings. Now the GN6 also gets LED fog lights, which is kind of weird because the headlights are halogen, so it should be the other way around. But well, there you go. Now the GN6 is classified as an MPV because it gets swing-out doors instead of sliding doors that you could normally find in a minivan. Now speaking of doors, yep, we get a nice solid thud to it. Now if you look at the side profile of the GN6, it looks pretty similar to the Maxus G50 or even the Toyota Alphard, but you do get a bit more flair because we get this nice rear kink down here at the back side. Now for your wheels and tires, we get standard MPV fare. These are 16-inch wheels wrapped in 215/60 R16 tires. The smaller wheel setup means that you get a more comfortable ride inside and also cheaper tire replacements when the time comes that you have to, well, replace your tires. Now behind those wheels, you get four-wheel disc brakes, and for your suspension, you got a MacPherson setup up front and a rear torsion beam at the back end. Now that got me a bit concerned though because, well, despite being a unibody construction, if you have a rear torsion beam for your rear suspension, it might get a bit jittery during the ride, which we will find out in our drive impressions later on. Now, one huge omission, guys, is the fact that the GN6 doesn't get power folding side mirrors. What? Why, Toyota? Why? Wait, did I say Toyota? Yeah, GAC makes Toyotas in the Chinese market. Yeah, that's right. Good save. Now the rear end of the GN6 gets a pure luxury van vibe to it, and I am digging it, guys. We get this gorgeous LED taillights here and dual rear fog lights at the bottom part, put together in a premium MPV package. However, when we get to the liftgate, this is where one of my pet peeves comes into play. You see, other Chinese MPVs out there in the market would give you an automatic power liftgate, but the GN6 comes with a manual affair. Now that's a bit of a letdown, guys, but remember, GAC manufactures Toyotas in the Chinese market, and it seems that they took a page from Toyota with this one, because I haven't seen an Innova or even a Super Grandia that comes with a power automatic liftgate. Now having said that, guys, let's pop open this manual thing. When you do open it, the first thing you'll notice is that the lip of the trunk is wide and low, making it easy to load large and heavy stuff inside your GN6. The second thing that you'll notice is that, well, the cargo space here is recessed deep into the floor, similar to other minivans like the Kia Carnival. Now that's because the third row seats fold into the floor, again similar to a minivan. Now this large recessed space here translates to 324 liters of cargo capacity, which means that this medium-sized luggage right here, yeah, this could easily be swallowed by your GN6. Now, if you need more space than 326 liters, you could always, as I mentioned, fold down the third row seats here, and that will now give you 1,100 liters of cargo capacity, which would be more than enough for, let's say, 4 golf bags or like 5 to 6 medium-sized luggage. It is that spacious, guys. Now, if only this thing came with a power liftgate, it would have been mucho perfecto. The GN6 comes equipped with a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine that can put out 170 horses and 265 Newton meters of torque. Now, peak torque comes in as low as 1,700 RPM, which is a good amount of grunt for hauling 7 passengers plus some of their stuff. Now, power is sent to the front wheels via a 6-speed automatic transmission, which may not be the quickest shifting transmission in the market, but it does have a smoother character than the ones found in, let's say, dual clutch transmissions, and it doesn't have that rubber band effect that you could feel with CVTs. Plus, this 6-speed automatic transmission is sourced from Aisin, the world's largest transmission maker, and that's also where Toyota gets their transmissions. So you could say that this transmission, and also applicable to the engine, is practically bulletproof. Now, during the weekend stay that this GN6 was with me, I was able to do a mixed city and highway driving fuel economy of 12.6 kilometers per liter, which is pretty decent for a 7-seater people hauler. Hop into the cabin of the GAC GN6 and you could truly see that GAC manufactures Toyotas for the Chinese market. The cockpit isn't as futuristic as, let's say, the Geely Okavango, but it offers more creature comforts and tech features than even the top-spec Toyota Innova. You've got a good balance of tech and features here that should please a lot of moms and dads out there. Now, the good thing here is, if you're a certified Tito or Tita of Manila, you wouldn't get too dizzy trying to operate this vehicle. But first, the seats. The GN6 is equipped with these nice dark brown leather seats, and the leather quality itself is a good quality and it's quite supple to the touch. GAC knows a thing or two when it comes to giving us good quality leather seats, and the GN6 is no exception as well. However, if you're looking for a power-operated front driver and passenger seats, you'll be disappointed because these are manually operated and adjustable seats. It seems that GAC took another page from Toyota here because, well, since these are manually adjustable seats, you have lesser things that could break in the future, thus it would enhance on the GAC GN6 reliability. When you look at the steering wheel though, I first thought that this was a leather wrap steering wheel, but then upon touching it, it's actually a soft dark brown urethane steering wheel, and although it's urethane, it's quite okay, guys, because it's really quite soft. We also have a cruise control function here and hands-free buttons for hands-free connectivity. The thing is, the steering wheel only adjusts for tilt and it doesn't telescope, so that's a bit of a bummer for taller drivers than myself. Now take your attention, guys, to the instrument gauge cluster and the infotainment system. The way this has been laid out, at first I was really excited because I thought that this was a dual LED display panel here, similar to the ones found in the Hyundai Palisade, the Kia Sorento, and even some Mercedes-Benz models. However, upon further inspection, you could see that the instrument gauges are in analog, which is actually a decent looking analog gauge cluster, and we have a 7-inch colored LED screen in the middle for your vital stats. The infotainment system is an 8-inch touchscreen affair, and I first thought that it's kind of far, it's kind of hard to reach, but it's a good thing that the GAC decided to incorporate this nice ledge here where you can park your hand as you're tinkering around with your touchscreen. That makes it a lot easier to operate. Now this 8-inch touchscreen has Apple CarPlay, but it doesn't have Android Auto, which is a bit of a bummer for me. It does have Bluetooth connectivity, but well, I would have preferred if it also came with Android Auto. Now, we also don't get a 360-degree view camera here. Instead, we only have a reverse camera, and quite unfortunately, guys, the resolution of the reverse camera is, well, pretty similar to, you guessed it, Toyota as well. The resolution isn't that crisp. It will do the job, but well, it's not really as clear as some of the resolutions found in the cameras of some of the competition. Now, another thing that I noticed here is the climate control system looks really fancy, but this is just a manual climate control system. This is not an automated climate control system. I thought it was automatic because of the way it looks, but well, it's just manual. And you also have, at least you have here, an electronic parking brake with an auto hold feature. Now, I like the way that the shifter here is in a nice floating design, which means that frees up a lot of space here in the center where you could park larger items like, let's say, a handbag or stuff like that. Now, the thing is, you do lose out on your center console, but at least we do have a small, well, a largest area here where you can park some stuff like your cell phone, and it also comes with required USB charging ports. So overall, when you look at the entire cockpit area of this GN6, it's a good mix and balance of tech and soft touch materials. We also have nice leather wrapped areas here in the middle dashboard, in the door card inserts, but we do have some hard plastics at the top of the dashboard, the top of the door cards, and also at the lower part of the car, which again reminds me a little bit of some of the more, well, luxury offerings from the giant car maker Toyota. The good thing here, the fit and finish, it's fantastic, guys. Really fabulous and fantastic. That's why it's fabtastic. Yeah, and I didn't hear any creaks and rattles going to this location here. So yeah, the GN6, superbly built, guys, here in the cockpit area. Now, these are clearly the best seats in the house. What the GN6 lacks when it comes to tech features and creature amenities, well, it more than makes up for it when it comes to the comfort and the sheer space that you get here at the second row. I love the fact that the GN6 has this second row captain seats here, which really gives you that feeling of being an executive while you're being driven around by your manong driver as you go around town. There are oodles and oodles of space here. The knee room is great. The headroom is fantastic. In fact, a small child could stand up here straight, like as if he's in a school bus, and it wouldn't be a problem at all. There's also a large 7.5-inch space here in the center of these captain seats, which should help adults get into the third row seats with no problems at all. Now, this would have been great if it came with a panoramic sunroof, but given the size of the windows here and the fact that we also have a smallish regular size sunroof up front, we got a good amount of natural light coming into the cabin, so it's not really a big problem. Now, there is one weird thing here though, is, well, we do get ceiling mounted AC vents here, and we also have the blower controls for the AC here in the center, but if you look around, you won't see any USB charging ports. Now, I mentioned weird because the front row has a couple of USB charging ports. The third row comes with one USB charging port, but the best seats in the house, well, you'll have to make do with a power bank to charge your gadgets. So it's a bit of a miss in product planning, but well, it is what it is. Now typically, MPVs have a smallish third row seat that's normally reserved for children or for the friends that you really hate. Now the same couldn't be said for the GN6 because this third row space is not only spacious, it's also quite airy. You see, the configuration of the second row captain seats means that we've got a nice wide open view up front, and that should help your claustrophobic friends feel a little bit more at ease. Now for an average Asian like me, I'm 5'6". We've got a great amount of headroom and knee room here. I move to the side and I get around 4 inches of knee room and 4 inches of headroom, which is pretty phenomenal for the third row seat of an MPV. Now, we also get AC vents here, so your passengers in the third row would be a little bit cool and comfortable. And we also have nice cup holders on both sides and a single USB charging port here on the left side. So if you've got a lot of gadgets, you want to take the left side and not the right. Now, if it were up to me, and if I'm relegated here to the third row, I'd take this center seat right here, because you could sit 3 average size Asians here in the third row of the GN6, making it a 7-seater, even if we have second row captain seats. Now, why would I want to sit here in the center? That's because I'd be seated here and I'll be flanked by 2 gorgeous college chicks as we make our way to our beach party. Party bus, anyone? Alright guys, so we're now behind the wheel of the GAC GN6, and the first thing I noticed are the seats. The seats are a little bit on the firm side. It's not really that plush, but at least we've got some form of lumbar support here. But unfortunately, the lumbar support is not adjustable, so you'll have to make do with how the seats are actually shaped. It's not really that bad though, but I feel that if I go, let's say, on a long trip or a long drive, this might get a little bit uncomfortable. Now, the good thing about the GN6 is GAC designed it to be like a minivan, and that means that you've got a ton of visibility up front and on the sides. I mean, my goodness, this is so easy to drive. And granted, the A-pillars are a little bit on the thick side, but I love that they're thoughtful enough to give us this nice small windows here to help with that blind spot. And because of that, well, it's quite easy to drive this thing. Now, when it comes to the actual drive itself, I love that this GN6 drives so smoothly. It feels so predictable. It feels like an old friend. It feels like, it feels like you've been driving it for a long time, even if I've only had this GN6 over the weekend. It's so predictable, it's so safe. And that's something that I like about my MPVs and my minivans. You don't really need to have too much guesswork on it. You just get in and drive and go. Drive and go. The steering feel is nice and decent for an MPV/minivan. It has a good amount of heft to it, but it kind of feels a little bit floaty sometimes. It reminds me of the steering feel of, let's say, the Kia Grand Carnival. It has that minivan-esque characteristic to it. Another noticeable trait of the GN6 is the phenomenal levels of NVH. The NVH suppression of this MPV is superb. It is definitely much better than an Innova, and I could even say that, yeah, it's at par. Okay, not as much, but almost there. Almost like the Kia Grand Carnival, and to a certain extent, the Toyota Alphard. Wow. Yeah, the NVH levels, this is pretty good. Now, the good news here, guys, is despite having just a rear torsion beam for your rear suspension, the ride quality is surprisingly comfortable. You see, I took my family out and they rode at the back, and it's not, it's not jarring, it's not jittery in the back, and it surprisingly feels like we're riding in a larger minivan. The way GAC tuned the suspension and handling of the GN6, it is truly a minivan in every sense of the word. Now the safety features are decent but not really outstanding. We get dual front airbags and the side airbags, but we don't get curtain airbags. You also have ABS with EBD, stability control, traction control, and that's pretty much it. For a family vehicle, I would have expected that it should have come with curtain airbags, but well, it's still a budget family vehicle, so at least we still have 4 airbags. Overall, the GN6 is a value for money MPV for the discerning car buyer. It's got enough space to haul your entire family with you, but at the same time make you ride like a king when you're being driven around by manong driver while you're relaxing at the second row captain seats. It gives you all of this space and comfort while giving you the same level of engineering and reliability as a Toyota vehicle. The GN6 might not offer the same level of tech features and amenities that can be found in other MPVs like the Geely Okavango or the Maxus G50, but it offers a more comfortable van-like drive that cannot be seen in the brochure. The drive itself is nice and predictable, something that scores big points in my book. It's a good combination of space and practicality in a handsome and reliable package. And the best part? The GN6 is made by GAC, the makers of Toyota in the Chinese market. Thanks for watching.